Hello, welcome back to the garden. Today is Monday the 10th of July and I was hoping that this morning I'll be able to pop out into the garden and get all of the lawns mown. Over the last couple of weeks we've had really kind of changeable weather, which has meant the grass has been able to recover from that hot spell that we'd had, and most days have had some rain and then some sun, so all of the grass all over the place is looking so lush, but it has meant that when you've only got a limited time to be able to come out into the garden, getting things like the lawns mown is such a tedious task really, and it's really hard to time it right where it's dry and you've got an hour or two to be able to dedicate to that. So we're not going to be able to do that today, but I'm very lucky that I've got a lot of different places within my garden that I can work in all types of weather. So we're going to be in the greenhouse today, and in the last video I mentioned that I'm very happy to show you that I am a realistic gardener and I'm busy with lots of other tasks in life. So I'm not an Instagram garden where everything looks amazing and I'm always going to show you the best of everything. So I did mention in the last video that I hadn't really shown you much of the greenhouse this year, and there was a reason for that. And that reason is basically I've used the greenhouse this year as at the beginning of the year it was kind of like my potting shed where I could get on with everything, and then it kind of turned into a dumping ground. So where my plants and things went out into either the side garden next to the polytunnel or inside the polytunnel, I would kind of get all the pots together and chuck them back in here and then move on. And where it was so hot, didn't have loads growing in here, so I kind of didn't come in very much. Another thing that I failed to do in the greenhouse was sort my irrigation system out, which meant that everything inside here just relied on me hand watering, and then it just kind of spiraled from there really. Nothing got planted in here like tomatoes or cucumbers like I'd kind of planned, but that has actually meant that I've kind of been able to look at the greenhouse in a slightly different way, because the carrots that I put in here at the beginning of the year have done really well in here, and I do think that going forward this greenhouse is going to be a place that I can grow things like salads and carrots and things like that really easily, and especially over winter. So in a way I have learned something, but it has meant that my greenhouse is an absolute tip. So since it's raining, I think I'm going to spend an hour getting on with doing some tidying in here so I can bring it back into shape. I've also, you'll have already seen at the beginning of the video, I've been out and harvested my chive seed heads. As you can see now, they've started to die back and are ready for harvesting really. So if you have a look really closely, it's unfortunately been raining so they're a bit wet, but inside there you've got loads of beautiful seeds. So one thing I am planning for next year in my front garden is to have 2 rows of chives, because my friend's got that in her garden, and when they were all in flower, all these purple flower heads look absolutely beautiful. So I've got loads of seeds here that I can sow in a bit, but before I do that I really just need to get on and do some tidying. So I'm gonna get on with that now. You're going to watch me. Hopefully it's going to look absolutely beautiful, because at the moment it is a complete tip. Wouldn't it be great if we could work at that speed all the time? Rather than the 30 seconds that you've just seen, it's taken about an hour and a half to get this greenhouse straight. So thinking of it now, I'm quite grateful that we've had the rain today, because had it not been raining, I'd have been out there doing the lawns and getting on with outdoor stuff. So I'm really pleased that I've managed to come in here and get this sorted. I really love having all of my pots in the right place, because it always starts like that at the beginning of the year, but as soon as I start sowing stuff, potting things on, putting things out in the ground, it all just becomes a jumbled mess, and then it takes this amount of time to get it straight again. With the ground here, it's obviously quite a lot of grass and it's very dried out. I don't know what I'm going to be putting on the floor in here. I don't want anything in the greenhouse that is too permanent, like concrete slabs or anything like that. So I am wondering if I just put some wood chip down. So if you've got any ideas of what I can put on the ground, I would love to know. While we're in here now, before we get those chives sown, I just want to let you know that my carrots that I sowed here in these root trainers earlier in the year have done really well. They've just started to kind of bend over now. We're going to be harvesting those probably in my next video. I've also got the carrots that I sowed in this lovely pot here. They're also ready, so we're going to pull them all together on another video, because today, like I said, I've got those chives that I have saved, but while I was actually tidying up the greenhouse, I also found a packet of chives. So when I had got those carrots in those root trainers earlier in the year, I set up another root trainer here that I was going to put more carrots in, but I didn't get around to it. So I think today we're going to put the chives in these root trainers here, because it's already set up ready to go. And then when we get those carrots harvested in the next video, I can actually resow them. I've also got another 2 root trainers here that my friend Carl gave me. So I think when I actually harvest those carrots, I will sow some more at the same time. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I didn't put any tomatoes in here or any cucumbers like I'd planned, but this greenhouse already now is in quite a lot of shade. Down this side I've got shade, and I've got shade all the way across there. So actually, since those carrots have done so well, and as you saw at the beginning of the video while I was clearing up, it was quite overgrown there, and they've managed to grow really nicely. Well, we've not harvested them yet, so we'll have to see, but if they've done really well there, I think that the greenhouse is going to just be more of an area for things like that, because they will grow over winter as well. And then it also means that when I'm working in here and you know, doing other things, I'm not in a complete kind of enclosed jungle in here. So I think that would be a really good use of this shady space. Really quickly, before we get those chives sown, I want to give you an update on my hydrangea cuttings. I don't know if you saw, but a couple of videos ago I did a dedicated video all about taking cuttings of hydrangeas. One thing that I'm trying to do this year, as well as grow vegetables and get my vegetable area better, I want to actually start planting things in my garden and making it look beautiful. So I took loads of cuttings from 3 different hydrangeas, one of which was a blue one that I've bought actually, and I was really excited to put the blue one in. People have got blue ones all over, especially where I live, and it started to flower now, and I don't think it's going to be blue. Have a look at it now. If you've got a blue hydrangea, let me know if that is going to turn blue. It's definitely slightly different colour to the one I've got, so even if it's not one of those deep blue ones, it will still look really pretty, but a little bit disappointed that it didn't open and didn't look like it was going to go blue quicker. I do know though that they change colour kind of slowly throughout the season, but I thought it would look more blue than it does now. But these are the cuttings. They are looking so good and healthy, and I'm really confident I'm going to definitely get a couple take from each pot I've got. One of the good things about using one of these punnets is that when they do start rooting, you'll be able to see underneath. So very exciting. And a couple of weekends ago, I went to an open garden for the NGS, and which is the National Gardening Scheme, where people open their gardens for charity. And there's a couple of people in my village who always do it. So I popped over to them, and one of them was actually selling a hydrangea cut. Well, it's a plant, you know, taken from a cutting, and that is what it looks like. And having a quick look in here, it also looks like I've got some Aqualesia seedlings, so really interested with that. She did have about 3 different hydrangeas in the garden, and she wasn't able to tell me which one that came from, but whatever it looks like, it's going to probably be a different shade to the ones I've already got, so who cares. But there you go, that's what they look like at the moment. If you are interested in taking cuttings, I'll put a link to that video above. But that's that. Let's get on to getting these chives sown. One thing that I really want to start working on this year is saving more seeds if I can. This time of year is a really perfect time to save seeds, and the really cool thing about saving seeds are if you've got the room straight away, you can actually sow them and they will germinate. So with these chives here, as you can see, they started going a bit yellow, so they are ready to be taken off the plant and dried. So if you've got a lot of other things in your garden, I don't know, like lupins, foxgloves, and things like that, then this is also the perfect time to save them. I've also got a load of forget-me-nots that a friend of mine gave me, and they kind of just cut them back, and I've let them dry out in a bag, and then when it comes to the autumn, I can just sprinkle out all of the kind of seed heads like this and leave them as a mulch over the ground. So if you are looking for like wildflowers and stuff like that, that's the perfect way to do it. But with these, unfortunately, it is a little bit wet. As you can see, they are soaking wet at the moment, but I really just want to get on with this today. So what I'm going to do is just start taking the seeds out, which, because it is wet, is not going to be as easy. You can actually, by the way, just kind of sow it like that and put compost over the top and they will germinate, but I do want to get a better germination and kind of spread them out better. So this is probably going to be really fiddly, but if you have a look there, that is what one of the seeds look like. Allium seeds are like little bits of coal, I always think. So I'm just going to get on now and kind of harvest these out, which is going to be really hard because they are wet. So I don't recommend doing this when they are wet. Let them dry, leave them for, you know, a couple of days somewhere nice and dry for you to do this. Otherwise you'll be here all day like I'm probably going to be. Ugh. Right, this is not going to work. We're just going to have to leave them a few days. So I can get the packet of chives sown today though, so we can get that done. And then we're going to have to revisit this another time. When I'm having a look at this seed packet, it's telling me that there's about 135 seeds in this pack. So I think what I'm going to do is put about 20 in each of these. I find that when you're sowing any type of allium, an onion, shallots or chives, putting about 20 together is a really good number, because as they start growing, they hold each other together. But also I can then have 20 in each and then grow them on in pots until they're stronger. Next year I can put them out and then hopefully that will form a really nice clump. All I've done with this as well is just give it a light watering with the watering can, and this is a mix of homemade and peat-free compost as well. And there you go, that is what the seeds look like, and that is what those other chives should look like had they not been rained on. I'm not actually counting these, but I'm kind of doing it by eye in terms of quantity. Well, actually, I did count the first lot and kind of visualised how what it looked like. So who knows? And these also have been in the greenhouse all summer, so hopefully they've not got a little bit too hot and overheated. There's a few more in there, so every seed counts. All I'm going to do now is just cover them really lightly with a little bit of peat-free compost. So they're all covered over. Just give them a really quick water. I don't know if you've noticed, but while I've been filming this video, we've had a proper storm going on. So I'm very pleased that I came out and I've been productive in the garden, because it would have actually been very nice to have an excuse to stay in and get on with chores in the house. With the chives though, what I'm going to do is just leave them here until the other ones are dry and ready to sow in here. While we're actually here, I've got those forget-me-nots there. So as I mentioned, you can obviously save seeds and take the seeds out of the seed pods. But if you've got other things that have lots of small seeds, you can actually just harvest them, dry them out like that, leave them in a paper bag, and then later in the autumn, you can just kind of mulch them on the ground where you want things to grow. And as they kind of decompose, the seeds will actually probably be covered with their own plant, and then will germinate. So that's a really good way of doing it. So those, like I said, will be going out in the woodland later in the autumn time. Another good thing about coming out here today and tidying up was I got a little harvest of some new potatoes. There you go. So that'd be a nice little meal that I wasn't expecting, because I didn't realise that there was a tub of potatoes in here. Anyway, there you go. That is enough of me going on in today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed watching it and you've enjoyed looking at my lovely tidy greenhouse today. Just remember though, if you've got any ideas on what I can put down on the floor in the greenhouse, I'd love to kind of hear some ideas, because definitely need something going on. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I really hope that you've enjoyed watching it, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of all of my latest videos. As ever, YouTube have some videos up now on the screen that they think you'll like, and I'll also include the one of where I actually sowed those carrots, because we're going to be harvesting those in the next video, I think. I had mentioned in the previous one that I am working on a project outside that I really want to show you. Half that video is filmed, half that project, well, 3/4 of the project is done, but it does involve oil-based paint, and the items aren't really kind of easy to be put undercover. So the rain over the last couple of weeks hasn't really helped that situation, but that will be coming very soon. Anyway, I'm going on. So thanks so much. Take care. Bye.